yourselves a round of applause. We were deep in discussion over there. Thank you so much. Please, if you have more ideas, go ahead and write those down. And then also share that. All the ideas that you have are going to help us guide our work. So, all right. How y'all doing, Westsiders? Let me hear from you, Westsiders. Okay, how many of you folks here are from Glendale? Make some noise. That's what I'm talking about. I don't really care about the rest. So, I'm just kidding. How many of y'all here from Poplar Grove? Here it comes. How many are here from Rose Park? Rose Park always represents, I tell you now. How many are from Fair Park? All right, stepping up Fair Park. How many of y'all are here from Guadalupe? All right, it's a small neighborhood, and you're here. Thank you. Very proportionate. How many are from Jordan Meadows? We're proud of you. We're very, very proud of you. You shouldn't be sitting by yourself, though. We're your neighbors. So, yeah, I wasn't going to forget West Point. How many of y'all here from West Point? Luz Escamilla is here. Senator Luz Escamilla, thank you for coming. Let's give a round of, let's just acknowledge our elected folks that are here. If you are an elected official, can you please stand up? We have Charlotte Fife Jefferson's on the school board, Representative Angela Romero, Senator Luz Escamilla. Thank you, Victoria, for coming. We're going to hear from you, so I can't show you any favors in this moment, but we're happy you're here. But let's just give them all a round of applause, and we really appreciate your support here, coming to listen. Okay, so we get the candidate forum going. You guys don't want to? Come on, that's what you came for. Let's get the candidate forum going, yeah? And once again, let's please put your hands together for the League of Women Voters. Westside Coalition is so lucky to have them as a partner. They work so hard, they are so diligent, and we really, really do absolutely appreciate their involvement over here on the West Side. All right, so here we go. Hey, does anybody want to, if you guys want to, you'll hear better from up here in these seats. So these seats are here for you to come and listen, and I will get started. Once again, thank you all for joining us today for this important candidate forum. Forums like this are here to remind us of something vital, Democracy only works when people are informed and involved. Casting a vote is important, but making a vote an important and informed one is what gives our democracy its strength. That's why we gather here tonight, so each of us can learn more about the candidates for Salt Lake Council District 1, their priorities, and their visions. We invited District 1, and just so you know, there are some folks here that are running for District 3 as well. Not all of them are here. They were all invited. We want to make sure that's understood. We invited every District 3 person, so we do thank the ones that were here that were able to make it today. Throughout the forum, you'll hear directly from the candidates as they respond to questions, discuss visions, and share their policy proposals. This is your opportunity to engage with the candidates and get a clearer understanding of how they plan to address the challenges and opportunities facing our community. We encourage you to listen actively, take notes, and consider how each candidate views, plans, and all of that align with your own. Your participation in this forum is crucial to ensure a transparent and democratic process. I am pleased to introduce our moderator for today's event. For nearly 40 years, Laura Jones has been helping people tell their stories. Her resume includes stints as a teenage disc jockey, a business reporter, a public affairs host, and the first civic public relations director for the Salt Lake City Police Department under Chief Chris Burbank. She also was part of a small group of communications professionals invited to draft language for the Utah Compact. This was a document of universal values on which to base immigration reform and discussions. Currently, Laura is executive producer and host of the award-winning Radioactive, a community affairs show that highlights grassroots activists and community builders, weeknights at 6 on 99.9 FM KRCL. If you want to support, you just call 1-800. I'm sorry. It's just habit. It's habit. I can't help it. Laura will guide us through today's discussions, ensuring a fair and engaging dialogue between the candidates and you, the voters. We are grateful for her dedication and expertise. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Laura Jones. Laura, take the floor.
And Billy used to be on Radioactive with me. So if we can get our candidates to come up here, we'll do a little groundwork. I did want to say that I'm a two-time Westsider. I live in Rose Park. I work in the Guadalupe. So, thank you very much. All right, so good evening. We're going to have a moderated timed Q&A format. We have Ann and Patty from the league here, so candidates be paying attention to their time cues. We've carefully selected these questions to ensure a fair and unbiased discussion, giving each of our candidates the opportunity to present their views on key issues. So hopefully this will provide an opportunity for you to better understand their positions and make an informed decision. So a couple of guidelines. Campaign materials, stay out of this area. Audience conduct, that's you folks. Respectful environment, save your applause and cheering until the end of each set of questions. And then we'll request that you avoid crosstalk and other disruptions during the conversation. Recording of the discussion not allowed by attendees or participants, although, are we live streaming? We're live streaming, and they'll be archived online eventually. Post-event, our candidates will go back to their tables and you'll be able to talk with them one-on-one. So thanks for your cooperation, and let's get started with our candidates. 2 minutes to introduce themselves and explain why they're running for City Council. And then we'll proceed to the moderated discussion, where each candidate will be asked a question and provided with 2 minutes to respond. And after the final question, the candidates will have another 2 minutes for a closing statement. And all candidates were invited. We have Victoria Petro and Stephen Otterstrom, who accepted. We did not hear back from Yusuf Abdi, unless Yusuf is here. All right. So welcome to our candidates. We're supposed to flip a coin or pull it. Anybody have coins anymore? All right. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. Oh, you got a coin? Bring it on up. Come flip a coin for me, young man. It comes from your son. I don't know. We'll have Stephen check that there's actually heads and tails. All right. If you stay right here, you can have this back, okay? We're not taking a quarter from you. All right, so it has tails, it has heads, even though it came from your son. That's what we're gonna do? Okay. Okay. And it landed on heads. Do you wish to open with the opening statement or close with the closing statement? Okay. 2 minutes, sir, for your opening comments.
My goodness. I get asked this question often. Why did you choose to run for city council? And the reality is, it's because I didn't know better. But as I have been going around and I've been meeting people, I've had an opportunity to really get excited about some of the things that we could do in Salt Lake, and also had an opportunity to really feel a sense of empathy for some of the issues that so many of the people on the West Side are facing. I talked to seniors who many of them are having a hard time staying in their homes. Some of them even own their homes. But because of the property taxes that get bigger and bigger as their property values go up, but it's difficult for them. You know, I talk to families who are having difficulty right now paying their water bill. And we need to do something to update that entire infrastructure. And all of this is happening in the context of many people not feeling like there's anyone that's actually looking out for them. That they feel like, yes, the big interests, the big business, the large developers, yeah, they've got all the representation they need. But who's there for them? My name is Stephen Otterstrom. There's so many things we won't get time to talk about, so I have my website, Stephen for SLC. I hope you'll go there, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you, Stephen. Now, Victoria.
Hello, friends, neighbors. I am Victoria Petro. 4 years ago, you sent me to do a job, and I thank you for that. I would like you to send me back to continue the work. The truth is, as blessed as we are to live in the largest growth trajectory in the nation, that is stressful too. It is sacrificing things that we used to know to make room for the things that need to come. I stand on the shoulders of people who have advocated for this community in tremendous ways. Senator Escamilla, Representative Romero in the room have taught me so much by example and explicitly in how they love our community and advocate for it. Former Representative Ted Lewis, back when I was in middle school, took care of this neighborhood. This neighborhood is a neighborhood that deserves to do more than just play defense. This is a neighborhood that deserves to dream boldly about what we could be, about how we leverage opportunities that come to us. And yes, none of the decisions are easy. I'm a single mom raising some of the cutest kids who bring coins with them places. The sacrifices, the choices, the opportunity costs daily pile up. But we've seen this before, and I know my neighbors. I see you at school when I drop my kids off. I shop next to you in Smith's. I get yelled at even if it's not my level of government that did it, but keep yelling, I'm okay with it. We are resilient. If I had one prayer, it would be that some other part of the city or county could prove their resilience occasionally and we didn't always have to prove ours. But I know you. We're going to build something good together. Please send me back for another 4 years.
All right, we'll start with the first question. We'll bounce back and forth. So, Victoria, first question to you. A 1,300-bed homeless shelter is being planned for the West Side. How would you ensure it's adequately funded, staffed, and supported with transit and services so it doesn't become overwhelmed or unsafe? 2 minutes.
I'm so excited to give the Trib the next headline from something I say here tonight about this. The truth is, this is not in the city's control. I was not part of the eminent domain conversations that discussed us surrendering any land, and I'm frustrated that once again, our communities are on the front lines of addressing something that needs to be addressed. What I can tell you is that our state leadership has never been more in unison with the city leadership, and the county is together. And the unified mantra that we are chanting, that the church has picked up and is chanting, that now the head of the Homeless Services Board, is that there must be an evidence-based strategy. None of this SSRIs cause mass shooting stuff. An evidence-based strategy for how to deal with this issue. And then there must be resources adequate to that. There is no path forward. So thankfully we do have unity between the levels of government advocating. I maintain monthly meetings with the head of the Homelessness Board. I'm going to have lunch with him tomorrow to make sure I take concerns that I just heard tonight from a 2200 West neighbor, where we don't have hard power in policy. And friends, I'm sad to say the city has very little hard power. We're overwhelmed most of the time. I cultivate soft power. I make sure my representatives know who I am and pick up the phone when I call. I make sure the people appointed by the governor know, and I make sure every time I speak in those rooms, it is your voice that comes out of my mouth. These are not vanity projects. This is not me elevating my voice. This is me letting them know what we need and being relentless until there's not any hope left. And I'm going to stay there, tenacious as I can be, doing that same work.
Thank you. Now, Stephen, same question to you.
The first thing we need to remember is that the unhoused population consists entirely, 100%, of human beings. It's not a number of beds, it's a number of people. The state has said that they're going to come in and build this 1,300-bed facility. If we follow the money, it's a story that goes nowhere. It hasn't been allocated. Even when I hear them talk about things like, well, we'll put $100 million into this. Well, you know what? Nevada Cares, which is supposedly this is patterned after, they spent $80 million on theirs. And they did it in 2020. They had they had money from the CARES Act. My biggest concern is that we will think the state is going to do something and the city will pull back. The state is not coming. We need to look at what our communities are already doing and magnify those things. If after this legislative session I hear that the state has allocated $250 million to build the facility, then I will rest easily and I'll say, yeah, the state is coming. And then of course we need another $30 million for the maintenance every year, probably double that. Then I'll believe it. But we need to, as a community, come together to solve this. We can look at what the church is doing on Second and Second. We can look at what programs like Victory Outreach are doing. We can look at what these communities that are, it's not their responsibility, but yet they're answering the call. And as a city government, we can answer it with them. That is how we'll make a difference. I don't believe the state is on its way.
All right, this one working now? Okay. Stephen, to you. Westside communities experience higher pollution, worse air quality, and shorter life expectancy than Eastside neighborhoods. So what specific policies would you push to close that gap?
This is a hard one, because the reality is the studies are out and we do know that we are more impacted. We're impacted more by pollution from the airport. We're more impacted because we don't have the same access to health care. Some of these things are within our control and other things are not. But I think when we talk about this, we talk about this issue with health, it's kind of hard to do that without talking about the lake. Because we may say the lake is dying, half of it is already dead. We're already in a situation where we have lost so much of what was covered, and that dust is dangerous. And it does hit the west side first. So one of the things the city needs to do is we need to be more water wise. Now I know people have pointed out to me we can't fix this problem by the city on its own limiting the amount of water that we consume, but we can be the beginning of the start. We can lead. Right now, we use more water than, we're about twice the consumption of most people in Phoenix. We don't, and even the way that the city landscapes isn't in line with that. It will take, and adding water back to the lake, 500,000 acre-feet every year for 30 years to resolve this. So it is time, if we are worried about our health, and this won't just hit the west side, it's time that we start taking the lake seriously. We can't stop all the cars from driving, although we can make transit better and encourage that. But this is one thing that we could do, and every one of us could be part of that solution.
Thank you, Stephen. Victoria, same question to you.
So this is something that we don't produce ourselves independently, and so I think the stakeholders who help create the problem have to be enlisted as part of the solution. I've tackled this notably in my work on the Utah Inland Port Authority. The Amazon factory out there already, through solar panels on the roof, produces enough power for daytime functions with surplus. Do you know that that surplus energy is just like fizzling off into nothingness, into some batteries until it can't be held there anymore? What if we created, and this has been proposed many times, a municipal energy district that would allow us to subsidize energy-stressed families, or would allow us to transfer something on fossil into renewable energy like solar? These are things that, as a city council person, you're not able to affect independently. Even the city wouldn't be able to, thanks to Rocky Mountain. But these are things that we should be leveraging our growth trajectory to address. We can create viable ways to create better energy, cleaner energy. I also think in regards to the lake, which undeniably has to be one of our top concerns, your city has taken the bond money that we use and created a water reclamation facility. So we're not just treating your water anymore, we're returning 300,000 gallons a day to the Great Salt Lake. But when I go over to other neighborhoods, I see a lot of green grass still. We must be wise stewards over what we have. So we need to leverage our partnerships to invest in these solutions. Innovation is possible, real, and attainable, and we must be good stewards over what we have.
All right, question number 3 of 7 to you, Victoria. How can the Power District project bring new jobs, amenities, possibly a Major League Baseball stadium, without pricing longtime residents out of their homes? Deep breath.
This is not a 2-minute answer. Y'all come see me at the table. It's longer. Right now, I described this today. The Power District is Schrodinger's district. It is both wonderful and terrifying to our district. The main problem I see is that the state preempted all taxation. So that means the taxes that are paid over there, which used to amount to about 1.8 million, we used to spend about 1.3 million in serving for non-fee-based services. So this year we lost 1.27 million because we got like a little south of 33,000. We're already subsidizing it with our general fund, and we don't even have a team yet. It is possible. We could create a model over there where we pay our bills and don't make everyone else dependent for what happens there. And the woman who sells tamales in the Smith's parking lot could get a cart over there and then could graduate to the storefront, and we could encourage Westside businesses and homeowners to actually build there and have increased security. Or it could be a district that has an invisible gate drawn around it, and people can ride really fast into it, do whatever they're going to do, and then leave, and never know the wonder of Chungus, never know how fantastic Sutherland's is, and how great it is to support a family hardware store. This is Schrodinger's district. It has all the potential in the world, but you all showing up and a strong voice at the table is going to be required to keep you centered. There are already people on that board that say their obligation is only to that district. Their obligation is to you. And if you have to pay more to get police to serve that because we're getting no taxes, there is no way for it to succeed. So we have to stay vigilant. It could be the biggest blessing, and it could hurt us.
All right, Stephen, deep breath. Go for it.
Got to remember to breathe. This is a story that we've already seen. And we can tell you that you should go and show up and talk and say, this is what we need, and we need to have housing come out of this, and we need to have these other things. There are very powerful players in here, and they are not listening to us. And they're not going to listen to us. If a Major League Baseball team comes here and we build this stadium, I can promise, with all the authority I don't have, that what we will see is we're going to see the worst case scenario. They're not going to bring in the housing. They'll bring in affordable housing in a certain amount, but remember, affordable housing isn't affordable for everyone. What they will do is they're going to make it really difficult for people on this side of our neighborhood to be able to rise up and be louder than the businesses they bring. We've already seen it with the Smith Entertainment Group. They're building a parking garage because they don't want to share any of the profits in parking. They're going to try and keep every cent in that district. So I think the only way that we succeed here is if we don't ask them nicely, but we ask Major League Baseball to please go somewhere else, because it won't end good for this community.
All right, Stephen, to you, question 4. The Rio Grande Plan, put your hands in the air, Rio Grande Plan, right over there if you have more questions, but it would bury train tracks to reconnect east and west sides of the city, but it may require billions in upfront investment. So, to our candidates, do you support pursuing it, and how would you justify the expense to taxpayers? Stephen.
I would say that we should pursue this. And one of the reasons we should pursue this is because, unlike other investments that we've made that lead to private profits, the Rio Grande would create opportunities for us because it gives us the one thing we don't have more of in Salt Lake City, and that is surface space. If we really want to do something about housing, it means we've got to have places that we can build the housing. If we do the Rio Grande Plan, then we could gain up to 75 acres. Almost a whole new neighborhood could come out of this. And if we do this wisely, and we do things like alternative housing solutions, things such as cooperative housing, where we allow the renters to own the complex that they're in, we could actually create a model that allows low income to higher income the opportunity to own where they live. So when I look at something like the Rio Grande Plan, yes, it will be expensive. I'm not opposed to spending money. I'm not opposed to investment. What we need to spend money on, though, is things that will make us money. And the Rio Grande Plan has shown through their own studies, well, not their own, that would be very suspect, studies done by Utah State University, that it will bring money in. And so I am in favor of the Rio Grande Plan.
All right, same question to you, Victoria.
We've seen in other places where burying transit has exponentially positive benefits. I think notably about Boston, where I went to grad school. Mitt Romney once described that as trying to perform a heart transplant while someone was running a marathon. It was immensely complex, terribly, terribly expensive, but ultimately a benefit. So conceptually, the concept of burying transit is something I'm highly in favor of. I don't buy into the notion that this is the solution for the West Side, because you, like me, spend more time sitting at the intersections north-south on 8, 9, and 1000 when it's open west, leaving only Redwood Road or going into downtown as our options to get around those miles-long trains. So I would actually like to consider burying transit in other places. But I love the concept. What I really love is that it's a constituent-led initiative, and every interaction I've had with the Rio Grande Plan leaves me motivated to do this job in a way that is full of integrity, in a way that honors constituents, and that dares me to dream boldly. It is a massive amount of money, and so I would expect federal investment. There's no way we as a city do something like this. Even the other projects that we're doing that are large scale require this county and the state to buy in with us and to leverage. So while that's possible, I would, once I have the buy-in of my counterparts at the state and the county, be much more proactive. But burying transit infrastructure, I wish they would bury 15. I lobbied for it, didn't win. But I love the Rio Grande Plan and the people who propose it and the concept.
All right. Question number 5 to you, Victoria. The Jordan River Trail and North Temple Corridor face persistent public safety challenges. So how would you make these areas safer while balancing enforcement with community trust, Victoria?
You said enforcement and community trust. This is the song that doesn't end. This is our perennial task, and it's one that I'm happy to deal with. So much of what goes on the trail isn't homelessness. There are people, I met a couple months ago, a young boy who was actually trying to keep his younger siblings from being taken from him, and they were in a tent back there. Occasionally it happens. But the stuff we saw at North Temple, it was an opportunistic predation from people who wanted to take advantage of the chaos that the unchecked homelessness crisis enters in. So undoubtedly, there is a massive public safety element to this. We have a bike squad that will be beginning next week. Now, Councilmember Pui and I suggested it 2 years ago. We were told by that October it would be in. It is not. 2 years later, we have a bike squad. That means when you are out on that trail, you will see police people on bikes who are custom trained to do community building, to interact with you and enrich your experience there. But I think the other thing is activation. I think for so many of us, we've surrendered space, and rightfully so. My friend Craig Perry was getting insulted walking into his backyard by people who were camped along there. It's hard to want to enter into a space when that's your reality. But reclamation through usage is a thing. So us taking advantage of these amenities, being present, enjoying them, us using community councils and nonprofits to bring life back, for us to be present, and for us to have meaningful ways to engage those who truly are homeless while addressing the criminality that likes to hover around them, it feels like a winning strategy for us to have a river trail we can be proud of.
All right, Stephen, Jordan River Trail, North Temple, Public Safety and Community Trust.
All of those. I really enjoy the Jordan River, and many of you enjoy the Jordan River quite a lot as well. And the trail is one of the gems, or has been one of the gems, when you live on this side of town. When I first moved to Fair Park, I used to go along the trail all the time and walk it at night. We all kind of know when this happened. It was right around the time of the pandemic, and we started to see more and more people go unhoused. We can try and fix the fruits, but until we take on the roots, we're not going to see anything meaningful happen there. We can scoot the problem around, we can reclaim it for a little while, but it'll be back. The reason why there are so many people unhoused is because they're not housed. If we housed them, they wouldn't be unhoused. There we go. We are actually seeing this problem get bigger. The point-in-time study showed it gone up 18%. It means that we're using a structure that doesn't work. I talk to young people all the time, every people, all kinds of people, who tell me that their rent is outpacing their cost of living increases, and their rent is already exorbitant. If we want to do something about people who are unhoused, we have to take on housing, and we have to do it with a structure that is different, because what we have right now is perfectly suited to the results that we're currently getting.
All right, Stephen, next to last question to you. Westside neighborhoods are home to many mixed status and immigrant families, so how would you as a council member respond to federal mass deportation efforts or anti-immigrant policies, Stephen?
I am pretty confident in saying that in this area, there is probably no daylight between Victoria and I. That this is an area where we both feel extremely passionate. In fact, I mean, let's just be honest about this. Right now, the Supreme Court has stated that it is okay to racially profile people. Your own city councilwoman is in danger if she speaks Spanish. So, no hablas nada, okay? But that is the situation that we're in. And I believe that we both stand united on this, that there is nothing we wouldn't do. There is no step that would be too far to keep that from happening in our neighborhoods. I don't know how I could be any more clear than that, but Patty says I got another minute. Do you want it?
Victoria.
Just not in Spanish.
I appreciate you and I appreciate your passionate solidarity. There's no reason for us to do the work of the federal government. There are no agreements that could compel me. There is no condition. And additionally, it makes you less safe when I do, because when your neighbors don't feel like they can call 911 for an emergency because they're worried that we're complying with ICE, the entire safety of neighborhoods goes down. Women who are being abused should feel safe to call 911. People who are in need of medical attention should be able to call 911. This is so much more than just us protecting people who might not have all the numbers necessary for a social security number. This is about our community cohesiveness, and you and I both know that when we are shopping together at Rancho or Smith's, when we're eating from the Jarapeo food truck, you're not looking at that person next to you wondering if they're documented or not. You're looking at that person acknowledging that that is your neighbor who shares the home that you love. That is who we are. That is who I will continue to be. And here, Blake can have this headline. This is the thing I will be arrested for. I will happily chain myself to a school building if someone tries to go in and disrupt the sanctity of our churches, of our schools, of the places that we have consecrated as a community for the purposes of being the community that we are.
As I recall, Salt Lake City has not signed since Burbank the 287G agreement. Salt Lake City does not act as cross-deputized ICE, as I recall. All right, last question, Victoria. We'll start with you, and there'll be 2 minutes wrap-ups after this, folks. We're almost there. So, Victoria, what's your top priority for addressing inequities between the east and west sides of Salt Lake? And what's the first action you would take if elected?
We have to stop with the Hunger Games. If we keep pitting district against district, we all work too many jobs to show up as frequently as the east side does. So what we have to do is paint a picture of an expansive, prosperous Salt Lake City where we all work together to get our needs met. Now, this is going to sound like a departure. In South Africa, after apartheid was ended, the white class were very, very nervous that the same cruelties would be enacted upon them. But the miracle was grace. That those who had suffered under apartheid did not return the hate. It is true, friends, that we are living in a place that has been systematically disenfranchised since its founding. It is true that disproportionately that has hurt generations of minoritized and lower socioeconomic people. But I believe that we are creative enough, resilient enough, and insightful enough to cast a vision where Salt Lake City is expansive enough for us to fix the history without causing them to feel the pain that we felt. So my first action has been and will continue to be to make sure the East Side knows that I listen to them too. Jan Hemming, the head of Yalecrest, yells at me as frequently, if not more frequently than you do, because Yalecrest likes to yell a lot. I will cast visions for how we can create revenue that is not property tax dependent so that we can invest in mutually held priorities that will benefit us. And finally, I'll be relentless in demonstrating what we need so that it's not always us because we can't show up because we work 2 and 3 and 4 jobs on the chopping block. But it's us asserting with love that we are part of the city and deserve what's coming.
All right, Stephen, last question for you.
If we don't do something about housing, there won't be a West Side. I mean, yes, there'll be a West Side geographically, that won't disappear. But the reality is, right now, when you leave or you sell your home on the West Side, it gets filled in with someone with a lot more money. We are definitely seeing the West Side as we know it not be the West Side that it will be in the future. That's why we need to do something about housing to make it affordable for everybody. What I really want to see is cooperative housing come to Salt Lake. That would allow people who rent to form an association, would then purchase the apartment complex that they're in. And when they do that, when they pay rent, now that they're shareholders, they actually gain equity. When they leave, they get to sell their share back. We could actually change the structure of housing so that it's not rent, but it's that if you can sign a lease, you can own. When people own, they can stay put. They don't get pushed out when rent gets too high. I rented for years and years, and every year that you rent, you have to ask yourself, do I chase the new move-in offer, or do I continue? That's destabilizing. If we don't stabilize the housing market, especially on the west side, we won't ask the question, how do we bridge the divide between east and west? Because there won't be a divide. It'll just all be the east side.
All right, those are our questions, and our candidates are now going to give closing statements, starting with you, Stephen, 2 minutes.
Well, this is fun. One of the reasons I decided to run was because I didn't feel like there was the representation that I wanted to see. I felt, probably the best word is hurt, by what happened with Smith Entertainment Group. I'd seen so much need that we talked about, and yet we found $1 billion out of nowhere. We didn't have money for so many things, but we found $1 billion out of nowhere. Well, out of somewhere. Out of a tax that we're going to pay for the next 30 years. We need to make people the first priority. Individuals. I believe that the individuals of the West Side, they'll start the next businesses. They may not be as big, but small business, it's big business. It comes from pluck. It comes from desire to get ahead. I believe that if we invest there, we could make a city like no other, and a West Side like no other, that is inclusive, even across economic divides. I'm running for city council because I don't want the seat. I want you to have the seat. I'm running for city council because I believe in all of you. The great thing is, it's ranked choice voting, so you can vote for both of us. That's true. There's even Yosef Abdi out there that's running. The key is vote. We will never get the representation that we need if you don't go out and vote. Whether you vote for me, whether you vote for Victoria, and I said that weird, or for Yosef. Worse things have happened.
All right, 2 minutes for Victoria to close.
First, I'd like to thank Stephen. Thank you for centering our neighbors and the people who are worth caring about. I'm going to repeat, 4 years ago you sent me to do a job. I'm so grateful that you sent me. It has been the hardest, most daunting job I've ever done, and the most worthwhile. The place where I'm choosing to raise my children is a place worth caring about and advocating, and you've given me the opportunity to stand alongside you as we do that. I'm asking you to send me back because the challenges are not diminishing, they're growing. And as I've honed my skill, I'm eager to employ it to make sure that the future we deserve is the future that we get. A future where home ownership is attainable, where safety isn't something we have to ask for, but something that is expected, where amenities are things that occur in equal proportion to other sites in the city. I will confess I don't want big box stores. I want us to stay a little weird and a little localized. I want us to stay the Austin of Utah. I'm so excited for that. But I'm doing it because you all welcome me into your homes. and we dream boldly together. Of a day when we don't just play defense, but we get to build what's ours. The growth trajectory is real. The challenges are real. The only thing more real than those things is who you are and what we've accomplished so far and what we're going to do next. Please rank me number 1 on your ballot. I'm happy to come visit and chat more if you need any additional information. And thank you for spending your evening with us.
Let's hear it for our candidates. Stephen Odderstrom, Victoria Petra, and Billy Palmer is going to come up here with a few more closing thoughts. Thank you all for coming on out. And that food, let's hear it for the food from Alchai.
Is this the quiet before the storm? Let's hear it for all of the 2 candidates and thank them for coming. Very robust discussion and well moderated by a person that can only do it that way. So on behalf of the League of Women Voters and the Westside Coalition and our community partners listed all across the tables here, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to everyone involved today. We'd also like to extend a special thank you to the candidates, so let's give them one more round of applause. If you have any more questions for the candidates, they have websites. I'm sure they'll be hanging out here a little bit tonight, but visit their websites. Their contacts are readily available if you'd like to get a hold of them and talk to them. We encourage you to visit their websites and get as much information as you can before you make a choice. We'd also like to thank Laura Jones for being Laura Jones. And lastly, we'd like to thank our volunteers, community partners for the support, and all of you, the voters. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate your coming, and it means a lot to the Westside Coalition. It means a lot to the League of Women Voters that you stay involved with your neighborhoods. We do this work because we want the best for all of us, and you're here to make a difference, and we really appreciate you. And also, for those interested in additional voter resources, we do have voter registration back there. League of Women Voters, let's raise your hands, please. Please, 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 go back there and get as much information as possible. They also have a website. And if you do anything, just stop by and say thank you for everything they do over there at the League of Women Voters. You can also pick up information about voter resources, including the League's Vote411.org website and all election objective platforms, which gives you a way to learn even more about tonight's candidates and their views, through Vote411 Personalized Voter Guide. Ballots drop in the mail October 14th. Make sure you have the voting plan and encourage your family and neighbors to do the same. There is a lot of confusion about whether or not we get vote by mail. If you don't know if you're getting your ballot in the mail, go ahead and there's a little QR code over there. You can check in on your voter registration. You can adjust your voter registration. There was a new law. We have to opt into our vote by mail. Is that law taking place? Has it taken place, or are we still waiting for it to take place?
2 more years.
2 more years. I thought it was sooner. Thank you. Thank you. I learned something today. You always learn something every day. So, more than ever, your reputation is crucial in shaping our community's future. So make sure your voice is heard on November 4th. Please, please, please vote. And if you'd like more information on the Westside Coalition, you can go to Westside SLC. Join our email list. We are a bunch of volunteers that are neighbors here, involved with our community councils, and many issues on our neighborhood. That means we're just one of you, and we're doing this with you. So please join the team, come onto our website, and come to our meetings, and continue to come to our meetings. We thank you for being here, and that is the end of this forum. Thank you.